Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Welcome to your slightly maniacal Dharma guide. All right. Just in case, this is Robert Beatty. This is Robert Beatty, or it thinks it's Robert Beatty. And this is a broadcast of the Portland Insight Meditation Community. And I forgot to do I don't know why we do this, but we do it.
Recording in progress.
So we have we record them so there's lots of space used up on the hard drive. This is a broadcast from Portland, Oregon, Portland Insight Meditation Community. We get to come together like this to sit in the mornings. What a blessing. Oh, I can reduce my wrinkles with my special light. Hi, everybody.
Do you need a co-host?
Oh, yeah. You want to ride shotgun, buddy?
You're Ed McMahon.
There we are. Oh, this is also slick now.
That was one of my bucket list things, to become just like Ed McMahon.
Well, here you are. I like the image of riding shotgun up there on the stagecoach. So, hi. It is really lovely to see you. I have a brilliant, beautiful short poem this morning from Meister Eckhart. The hope of loving. What keeps us alive? What allows us to endure? I think it is the hope of loving or being loved. I heard a fable once about the sun going on a journey to find its source and how the moon wept without her lover's warm gaze. We weep when light does not reach our hearts. We wither like fields if someone close does not rain their kindness upon us. What keeps us alive? What allows us to endure? I think it is the hope of loving or being loved. I heard a fable once about the sun going on a journey to find its source and how the moon wept without her lover's warm gaze. We weep when light does not reach our hearts. We wither like fields if someone close does not rain their kindness upon us. Simply coming together as Sangha is a way of loving each other. Raining kindness upon each other. And stopping to sit comfortably upright. We rain kindness upon ourselves. Bringing awareness, allowing awareness to open. in the body. I aspire to love and accept myself and my experience in every single moment. Let us begin with contact with the chair, the cushion, the floor. No demand, simply the intention to be alive and aware in the hands. Notice the life in the fingers, the legs, the feet. The face. Be present in the act of breathing in and breathing out. Something very strange and miraculous is happening. We take it for granted, but that doesn't reduce its miraculous nature. There may well be thoughts. You may be swept away in them, entranced by them. But then awareness of thinking occurs. What a strange thing, awareness of thinking. Awareness of breathing. awareness of the entire body. Sometimes the mind is just increasingly quiet. If one intends to keep the awareness on the breath, it just sits there. There's a certain ease in this, pleasure, even bliss. Other times the mind is stimulated somehow. Maybe it's dissatisfied and wanting something. I want concentration like yesterday, or I want those bright lights that happened the last time I sat, or I want something that I read in a book, or I want this thing to happen in my life today or tomorrow or next year. Wanting. Or maybe there is dissatisfaction and wanting less of something. I don't like this. There's aversion. I don't like this guidance. I wish he'd stop. Disliking. Sometimes there's a tumult of restlessness, agitation, and worry. The mind hopping from this to that, driven somehow. Sometimes sloth and torpor, dull, sleepy. Sometimes there's doubt, skepticism. Why am I doing this? These 5 great categories are the compost for the garden of our awakening. They're not a mistake. They don't mean we're doing something wrong. They're just what grows, what lives in this territory of the universe, the human mind. Acknowledging what exists in the present moment. That's all. Coming home to breathing with no violence, no coercion. Just because it's comforting. this miracle of mindfulness can be awakened in any aspect of human experience. We might observe, what is the attitude toward practice right now? Sometimes there's a kind of, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get control of this mind. Sometimes there's a grasping. I want to get it. I want to understand. I want to be free of this worry or this pain in my body, or what's the attitude? Is it love? Loving, kind? Remembering how much dukkha, dissatisfaction, there has been, is in your life. Remembering this, how can we be anything but loving and compassionate? There's a powerful image of a hurting child comes to a parent, and the parent, not knowing what to do, being burdened by so many things, gets angry at the child for crying or for being upset. Many or most of us have internalized that kind of parenting mistake. So when the discomforts of life or the discomforts of having a human mind become apparent, so to speak, why not turn toward that part of yourself with great love? I see you're hurting. Come sit in my lap, or how can I reassure you? I'm here. You're safe. We'll face this together. And so whenever I'm suffering, I aspire to hold myself in sweet, gentle, loving compassion. It doesn't take any effort, just remembering. our intention is the cultivation of mindfulness. Along with that comes curiosity, concentration, tranquility, equanimity, the capacity to be with whatever arises. We also cultivate a certain persistence or energy. And there is a quiet delight, a quiet joy that emerges as the mind clarifies. It's not from outside, it's not from some stimulus, it's from the very act of being present here. And in an odd way, there can be a similar experience even when the mind is in uproar. To be aware of uproar as what it is, the mind freaking out. We get lost in that trance for a while, and then something mysterious happens, this knowing. Oh, this is the mind in agitation. Back to breathing. Is it indulgent to ring it a third time? Meditators gone mad on lust for the gong. Hi. Construction is roaring along at the center, or actually destruction, I guess. There's a fellow named Pete who's the superintendent. Fine fellow. The first thing they're concerned with in the project and every day is safety. Every subcontractor that comes has to fill out a 2-page safety form of how they're going to keep everyone safe. It's quite interesting. When I do projects at home, or home, the way we do it at home, like tearing out sheetrock or something like that, it gets pretty dusty. They have huge machines. The filters are 3 feet by 4 feet or something. They're air scrubbers. So as they work, the air is cleaned right then. This first stage of the project, one of the things that they're doing, that we are doing, that you and I, and we're supporting them in the doing of it. Yesterday, they cut about 2.5 feet of the ceilings out against the exterior walls. And this exposes where the big floor joists come across. The floor joists are sitting on the foundation with maybe this much, maybe a little more than an inch of support. In an earthquake, when things move, those will fall off and drop. So every one of those now is going to be attached, very fancy fastening system. And then that will prepare it for when we raise the money for the upstairs, for the main hall. The big beams up there, not the beams, the 2x8s that'll go the height of the room, they will now rest on something which is not going to fall off in an earthquake. It's quite cool. So I wanted to give you that update, that things are really happening. And there's another way things are happening. Last night we had a meeting of the board and teachers and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion or Belonging Committee. And it's not, I'm forgetting her first name. How silly. Help me, Jim.
Shelley.
Yeah, it's not Steffi. Shelley Graff from the Minneapolis Common Ground Meditation Center was with us, and we had a marvelous conversation. And one way to summarize it, I think, for me anyway, is that it is our task and responsibility and privilege to listen for any and every voice that says, "What about me? Can I belong here? Can I feel welcome here? Will you acknowledge my difference and my similarity with you?" And I was struck during the evening how similar what we're doing is to what I think of as the PIMC founding document. I've read this more than anything else ever. And the one on the Buddha on impermanence comes second, but this is the first. It's by that great, extraordinary human being of the 20th century, Mr. Rogers. A friend of mine visited a beautiful monastery where a dozen monks, most of whom were in their 70s and 80s, were living. This is a place where once 60 to 70 men spent their lives studying and following a rule of very strict living, praying together 7 times a day, 7 days a week. They worked hard and were successful. My friend asked one of the monks why he felt that over the years the community had dwindled from 60 to 12. His reply was, "We did everything right. And somewhere in all that successful praying and work and living, we lost the most important thing of all, the thing that was so contagious and attracted people to us. We lost the naked love. Little by little, the success replaced the love. Oh, sure, you can have love and success, but the love has to remain first, always first. Natural, affirming, inclusive, naked love. Love and success, always in that order. It's that simple, and it's that difficult." Love means there's room for everything and everybody. I will need to end today at 8 o'clock or very soon thereafter. I have a date with the physiatrist to inject some steroids into my back. I've heard from some people about the miracle for them, and others said, didn't work at all. So I'm very curious to see what happens. So, what about you? Tim, hi.
Hi. If this is new to you, getting steroid injections,
It's new.
well, a word of caution then. Don't do anything at all strenuous for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Because I can't remember what it's called, but and I know this from personal experience, I have steroid injections on my shoulders. And one time, my doctor said, "Oh, you should probably take it easy," and didn't really emphasize it much. And so I ended up doing a bunch of work and straining my shoulders and got an inflammation and a pain that was sort of reset my 10 on the pain charts.
Oh,
It was brutal,
okay.
serious, brutal, try not to scream sort of thing.
I see.
So take it really easy for the rest of the day on your back.
Okay. Thank you. Which does remind me, for those of you in Portland, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be the foreman. I'm not going to do any lifting. We have to clean out the tool room off the women's restroom and the furnace room. And I'm going to point at things and say dumpster and other places. So if you'd like to do that, we're meeting at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And I'm going to be studious about not lifting anything. Thank you, Tim.
Good morning, Robert.
It's
Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Before I had back surgery, they were giving me injections into the disc that was inflamed. And I found the injections to be extremely helpful. And if I could have continued them and not done surgery, I would have done that. And I hope they work as well for you. I have injections into my thumb joint because it's bone on bone, and that's a different thing than your back. But whatever's going on with your back, when I had back problems and they gave me injections, I found them to work very well. But it does take a couple of days. You got to rest up and let those things kind of all settle in. But for me, what I noticed was much freer movement, much less pain. And it just took a little bit for everything to settle down after the injection. But good luck. I hope it works well for you.
Another adventure in aging.
Yes, the whole poem aspect of withering is very real to me now. And being in the middle of withering is not only poetic, but quite an experience of life that's hard to put words to until you're in it. I'm glad I'm in such good company, though.
You're in good company.
I am. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. I was with my dear friend Don McEachern up on Quadra Island recently, and he helped me teach the retreat at Cortez, Hollyhock. Anyway, we of course were two men in their 70s with aging bodies, and we found ourselves talking about this and that thing with our doctors, and he said, "Robert, old age is a shipwreck." Somehow or another, it was hilarious. We kept coming back to it again and again. He's lived on boats or worked on boats most of his life, and so he knows about boats falling apart. So what's happening in your world, friends? Anything you want to share?
Hi, it's Carol.
Hello, Carol.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here this morning. I've been really tired lately, and so yesterday I didn't make it to the meditation, but I'm really appreciative of the alternative of having Facebook because I was able to kind of come in a little bit later, even though I felt like a bit of an interloper, just listening but not being able to participate. But it's also, I think, really great to have the recording so that we can come back to it at some later time. In any case, I don't know if Tim's, or sorry, not Tim, but Dave's here this morning. Tim, I know you're here, but I wanted to let him know that I really appreciate his sharing of all his insights, and he was feeling a little self-conscious about that, and I'm glad that he is willing to share in that way. And I was also appreciative of Joy speaking about the Peace and Reconciliation Day that has become a national day as of yesterday in Canada because of the recent discovery of all of the unmarked graves of the children across Canada. And I know, Robert, you were mentioning that it's over 5,000 now that have been discovered in residential schools across Canada, which is pretty shocking. So it's been combined, that day of remembering and honoring has been combined with what has been known as the Orange Shirt Day, which began back in 2013 when a woman named Phyllis Webstad shared her experience of her first day in residential school 40 years earlier, when her grandmother had bought her a beautiful shiny orange shirt to wear to her first day of residential school. And as soon as she arrived, it was immediately, she was stripped of all her clothing, taken away. She never saw it again. And it was kind of a way of removing the Indian in the child. So the children were deloused, some of their heads were shaved. Their language was, they weren't allowed to speak their language. Their culture was basically being taken away. And so the orange shirts many of them say every child matters, just as a symbol to be able to remember that tragedy. And some of the stories are so heartbreaking, but perhaps we need to have our hearts broken open to be able to fully and truly open our hearts. In any case, I was able to attend or participate in a gathering that was in Campbell River yesterday, which is a 10-minute ferry ride from Quadra Island. And it was just a very moving and powerful experience. Began with a walk. There was several hundred people there. And then there was drumming and singing, chanting. And then there were speeches from some of the chiefs from different native traditions. And the speeches were all so eloquent and so compassionate. And then there was a meal. It was actually bag lunch that was provided. Young people went around and offered these bag lunches to everybody that was there, kind of like in the tradition of their potlatches. And then it followed with a ceremony for all of the survivors, where they had a cedar arch, and each individual was covered in a blanket as a form of protection. And as they moved through the arch, white feathers fell down on them, and as a form of healing. So it was very beautiful, very emotional. And I think the thing that struck me most was how the presenters spoke with such compassion and non-judgment. And one of them said that what we need to do is to walk together very differently in Canada, that we must unite to become one. And in order to unite, we must stop all judgment to begin the healing process. And getting back to love, that we must truly love one another, and most of all ourselves. And there was a post yesterday that I thought was very powerful as well. It was big orange color with hearts, and it said, "In their final day, they woke a nation," referring to the children. So just very powerful. So I wanted to share just some words that I read at our friend George's burial last week that really resonated with me, and I thought would resonate with him because he was an environmentalist and a peace activist. And I just thought might resonate with all of us right now, with all of the challenges in the world, and particularly the last sentence, which again refers back to the theme of this morning of love. It's written by Ganga White. It says, "What if our religion was our life? If prayer our words? What if the temple was the earth? If forests were our church? If holy water the rivers, lakes, and ocean? What if meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life? If wisdom was self-knowledge? If love was the center of our being?" And that last line reminds me of when the Dalai Lama says that his religion is love. So thank you for your theme of love this morning. Really happy to be here, and to all of you sharing this very privileged experience that we're having together every morning.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
I have the sense that I just received a blessing. Thank you, Carol. There's a request here from Kimberly. Can you post the name, the author of that poem? Maybe, actually, what if I were to empower you, Carol, here? You're now a co-host. If you have the capacity of cutting and pasting that into the chat, people could have it right away. Or you could send it to me and I'll put it in my blog. Not right away, but later today.
I'll send it to you. I'm not great at I don't cutting and pasting and all of that.
That's fine.
So
I was
okay.
realizing as I was saying it, it'll only be 19 steps, so don't.
In any case, the writer was Ganga, Ganga White. But I will send that to you, Robert.
So I need to go momentarily. But let's come to this mind and names. How silly. Jim, where's my favorite quote lately coming from? It's a very simple name, a woman. Mindful
from
of
Ruth
grace.
King?
Ruth King, there it is. So pick someone on the screen. Pick someone you otherwise might not notice. I find that so interesting. I look around and then suddenly there's someone, oh, haven't noticed them today. How does that happen? But pick someone or pick a name, one of these names in the bottom. You belong to me. Otherwise, I would not be here. I belong to you. Otherwise, you would not have come. My heart and your heart are very old friends. And someone else, you belong to me. We are relatives. We are deeply related. We are one being. You belong to me, otherwise I wouldn't have come. I wouldn't be here. I belong to you, otherwise you would not have come. My heart and your heart are very old friends. Another person. You belong to me, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I belong with you. Otherwise you would not have come. My heart and your heart are very, very old friends. And one more. Of course, I love you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come. Of course, you love me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. My heart and your heart are very old friends. I do complain about Zoom, but it does something pretty cool, doesn't it? So let us chant the ancient blessing chant. May all beings receive all blessings. Please unmute if you wish, and we can have our beautiful cacophony. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for a very, very beautiful time together this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Live long and prosper, Head.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Carol.
everyone. Be well, everyone.
Have a lovely day.
All the best
Good
with
day.
your back,
What happened?
Robert.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Captain Robert.
Best with your back, Robert.
Hey, David, what happened with the be well, be well, be well? I miss it.
Be well, be well, be well.
I feel complete now.
I'm slipping.
Yeah, geez, I wait for you.
Thank you, Robert.
All the world's a stage.
On Zoom, yes.
Robert, I just wanted to remind you that it can take weeks for you to really feel the effects of the injection.
Oh, okay.
And that the first few days, it's not even going into your system.
Oh.
And a lot of people are told the opposite. And I'm living proof because I told you this way back, but I had it in my, it was a herniated disc that went to the root nerve. And so I couldn't even stand for a minute and a half. And that was like literally from September through November. And I had one injection in 2 days before the deadline. It kicked in. And then he gave me a booster, and basically, except needing heating pad, or I'm not supposed to sit that long, it has been a miracle. And that's just a statistic. You're either lucky, you're either the one who it works for or it doesn't. But just don't be disappointed. Just give it time. Doesn't hurt at all, by the way.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah, they offered anesthesia, and I thought, why would I do that?
No, they, it's like they put like a little Novocaine. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'll be thinking of you, as we all will.
When it comes to good luck, I've had so much great luck in my life. I mean, I've been so privileged. And hang on, I got to go grab this guitar that I occasionally remember to play. Check out the back of this thing.
Yeah.
I won this guitar at a raffle. I mean, at a concert. And I met the man who made it, and look at the curves of it. This is a curvy guitar, And ever since then, I thought, I'm lucky. So, whoops, hang on. I can't get it down. Crash.
But the one thing that I will warn you about, my sister unfortunately had scoliosis, has had horrible, she knows too much about this, unfortunately. She kept telling me, do not bend from the waist. And to this day, when I start doing that, you need to, I can't even do the squats any longer, but you really need to bend from your knees, not just straight down, which we want to do.
Yep.
And that's probably the biggest thing to try to watch. And it's
and to continue my whole yoga physical therapy routine, just because it stops hurting so much, I will still try to do that.
Yeah, and chiropractic. That's my suggestion. And
thank you.
Anyway, thank you.
I got a Zoom, so to speak.
Bye. Zoom us
Bye-bye.
out, please.
Zoom us away.
Hang on, we're getting ready. All right. Preparing for the leap to hyperspace.
Oh.
Goodbye, dear friend.